Well, hey, everybody. Jarrod Alberich, the Yard Sale Artist, here on a rainy afternoon here in Alabama. And just doing some more inking for the Cold Lightning comic book by Allen Plexico. I hope everybody here is having a wonderful little Thursday afternoon. Like I said, it's raining where I'm at. And I just figured it's a rainy day. It's a good day to put on some of these Joe November jams and ink some comics. I want to say hey to Courtney Holland. She's already in the chat. What up, Courtney? Just a little cold lightning inking today, Courtney. Hope you're doing good. And of course, we're listening to them Joe November beats. Oh, Courtney's telling me it's really hot where she lives. It's been a little hot here. You know, of course, I live in Alabama. But luckily, we've had a lot of rain showers to kind of keep things cooled down a bit. Every time it's about to get out of control, we get a nice thunderstorm roll in, which is always welcome by me. I do love me some thunderstorms. Oh, good. I'm glad you're doing good, Courtney. And anybody out there who may be stopping in?
Sale away from the Shopify 1000 Club.
Is that a thing?
All right. Once again, I don't know where.
One.
I'm listening to Joe November's
you need to show
a playlist I have of his songs over on SoundCloud.
No, let's set you up on Shopify. It's
That's
easy.
Joe's little playlist I have from Joe November. Check him out on SoundCloud.
No.
Apparently, it likes to put some ads in there. So I wish I was getting revenue from these ads that play during my drawing streams. But I don't. I just like to support my boy Joe. A couple weeks ago, while I'm talking about Joe, he was on a Twitch stream beat battle. It was over a series of a couple of days, and our boy Joe November won that beat battle. First place, first prize. He went up against some cool, tough competition, and he won. So, super proud of Joe for doing that over on Twitch. We'll just celebrate by listening to some of his sweet beats here. Hey, Courtney, if you're still there and you're in the chat, you're always good at this. Check in on the music volume level. I'm a little too soft on music, a little too loud on music. It's always hard for me to tell for the end users. Sounds good in my headset, but I want it to be nice for the people who are listening, like yourself. I'm going to have to go to my much finer tipped pen, though, for these fingers. Facial expressions I got going here for this guy. Let's see, where's my 0.5 pen? There it is. The old Micron 005. Oh, thanks, Courtney. I appreciate you checking in on that sound for me. These fingers are so kind of tiny and close together. I gotta bust out the tiny nib pen to make sure they look nice and don't get too lost in the shuffle. There we go. Gonna just get them in there and then go around the very edge with a little bit thicker line. There we go. All right. That's that hand. I'm doing some tiny work right now. Might as well go ahead and get the other hand done on here. As usual, if you've ever seen one of these before, the pencils on this are by an artist named Wendell Cavalcanti. He lives in South America. He's a very good artist. And I enjoy inking Wendell. I'm sure we'll be using this again shortly, but for now I'm going to go back to my thicker Sharpie no bleed pen. There we go. We are getting there. All these characters have like a ton of little body armor and stuff on them, which is great. Cool looking character design, but it's a lot of intricate stuff to ink, that's for sure. This guy's got a little goatee beard. One of my very favorite Joe November beats. He put this one together specifically for our On Her Majesty's Secret podcast. I did a review of all the James Bond podcast, documentary review of all the James Bond video games. And Joe gave me this awesome James Bond beat to use for that. Always count on Joe. There we go. So yeah, I went back to the thinner nib micron pen to get some of the details in this guy's face. And once again, once I got the fine details down, I'm going to thicken the outline just a little. You can see off panel here, there's like been a door vortex that's been open. It's sucking everybody out. That was the last page I did. Man, that was a good looking page on Wendell's part. It was like a full page of that door busting open, everything being sucked out. Man, it was cool looking. Got like all this little debris. It's being sucked out through the spaceship too. I kind of like working on the debris a lot. Basically, because it's low stakes, right? Like it's just debris. So even if I kind of mess it up a little, I can hide things and fix things. Because it's just chunks of garbage, really. That's flying through. Ah, yes. So yeah, this is like, sci-fi space debris being sucked out this door. Like I said, I like that. It's low stakes stuff to ink. And as usual, kind of my inking style, as something is closer to the viewer or the camera, if you will, I give it a thicker line. So you'll see like on this face, it's closest to the camera. There's a real thick nose ridge face line here, separate him. And then as people get further away, I've got sort of a medium line. And then when you get down to these hands, that's where that 0.5 micron comes in for a real thin line. So that's my style. Basically, the closer you are to the camera, the thicker lines you get when Jarrod inks. This panel is coming together. Little detail work in there, so I'm going to go back to the 0.5 thinner micron. There we go. That's just about got him. Drop a little bit of more, just little detail lines on there, give him a little more pizzazz. I like these little wind being sucked in the vortex lines because I grab like a real loose, like I'm holding the pen really loosely, just kind of like letting the pen dance a little bit on the paper and just drag it, because I mean you can't really mess up those lines. These little lines right here, just real loose, just barely holding the pen, kind of letting it go however it wants to. Definitely not trying to force anything there. I'm going to thicken this line under his arm and then go on another real loose journey there. There we go. So I'm going to pull that together. So I'm thicken that just a bit. There we go. There we are. I'm going to go to the micron 1 for another piece of space debris. And I'm going to give that one, because again, it's a little closer to the camera. I'm going to give it a little bit thicker of a border. But again, it's low threat, you know, because it's just space debris. So, you know, even if I quote unquote messed it up, it's, I mean, what is space debris supposed to look like? So you can kind of get away with stuff like that when you're inking. In fact, just for fun, I'm going to add a little kind of shading line effect on the side of it like that, just to give it a little more personality. Really small pieces of space debris here. Go ahead. But they add a lot of little flavor to the panel. All those tiny little things create a little bit more character as you see everything's being sucked into the panel off screen. And now all I really have left are these sort of sucked into the panel off screen motion lines. I like to use, I could tell that Wendell did most of them freehand, which is cool. I'm going to use a ruler for mine and kind of follow his guidance. I like doing them this way too, because I get, when I first put this pen down, the line will be just a little thicker than as I pull off the edge there, so it'll create even more of that effect of the wind sort of vanishing to our point off screen where it's all being sucked out of the spacecraft. And I'm cheating a little on these wind lines because I'm starting them right on the figure of the hip, so they'll look even smoother coming out of there. But just to help differentiate that, I'm actually going to make this hip and leg a little bit thicker right where they meet, just to help differentiate him into the foreground from the wind lines. Couple more little wobbly lines here. Almost done with the panel. Now these lines right here, they're also, being sucked into that vortex that's off screen, but they're a little more curved. Again, I can tell Wendell did them by hand and they look great, but I might cheat a little bit and use the template to give just a little curve to these wind lines. Just a little hand-drawn flavor right behind that. Sometimes tossing a little hand-drawn in with the templated lines gives it just a little bit more of an organic feel. So I'm going to do that here, and over here. There we go. Panel's coming together nicely, folks. Let's go with that. Yeah. And there we go. I may fiddle with that later on, but for first pass, that's done with panel 1. If you're enjoying the jams, by the way, that's my friend Joe November. I've been knowing Joe for, over 20 years now. I'm on SoundCloud over here. Got a playlist of Joe's music. In fact, I wonder if it will continue to play if I go to his page. I'm not going to tempt fate. But head over to SoundCloud, check out Joe November if you like these jams. I know I like them. All right, I guess it's time to get started on panel 2. Looks like this guy right here gets sucked over to the doorway vortex, but he catches it, and it looks like he's going to be closing it. Kind of gets that heroic strength moment. So I'm just going to start by doing some of the easy stuff that's flying through the air. Sometimes I like to start on these little easy things just because I'm kind of getting a feel for everything that's going on the page, warming up to it, because seeing what the tough stuff's going to be. There are some tricky template lines on this one I can already see, because we're going to have to use ruler work for the door and template work here for the door arch, but nothing too bad. So, in fact, I'm going to get started on ruler lines for the door. All right, now I'm an old gamer in my 40s. Time to tell my story. I'm a gamer in my 40s, and yes, that's me rapping in the background. Man, I'm not even sorry. Never makes me not laugh. Joe November made this. We made this stupid track together. I had to pretend that Gray Square was Indiana Jones. Next came Nintendo. Talk about my mind blown. We had Link, Metroid, Castlevania, and Mario. How many lawns did I have to mow to get my hands on just enough dough? Man, you don't even know, but I did it for show. And I took my hard-earned cash to the store, ran upstairs with my new Nintendo, moved all my He-Mans and G.I. Joes, hooked it all up, and what do you know? Same black and white TV, man, it's got to go. Oh, snap. What I just see? Portable Nintendo and it's waiting for me. They call it Game Boy, and I can't wait to see all the sweet games that can travel with me. We're talking Zelda, Batman, even Tetris for free. Man, I'm hip deep in game ecstasy. First, I gotta buy some AA batteries. Let's see how amazing it can be. Power it on, and what do I see? A black and white screen staring right back at me. Now it's high school, make a minimum wage. Bought a color TV to join the modern age. I scored a used Genesis, and I thought I was all that, because I could use the blood code and Mortal Kombat. I got 16 bits on my color screen. I'm rocking something called Blast Processing, a blue hedgehog who runs really fast, but Nintendo hits back with a link to the past. I'm addicted to that Zelda, so I got to run out and get that Super NES, yeah, that's no doubt. I keep glancing at my Genesis, man, what's next? Sega answers back with a 32X and a Sega CD to slap on the side. Man, Sega really knew how to pimp out that ride. Now I'm in college, Auburn University. My roommate has a PS1. Best roommate.
More of these little wind lines here where I just kind of loosely hold the pin and
that Sony game system, man.
let it go where it goes.
Solid, that game was on point. Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. There's no rhyme here. It's simply the best game ever. Nintendo drops the N64, Ocarina of Time, man. Need I say more? And in these college years, no party was fly unless somebody busted out that golden eye.
There we go. So now I have the door, frame line, hitting all the major parts. Of course, I'm going to come back, thin, thick, and add little details there, but all that line is pretty much good to go at this point.
And I'm in Iraq. Seems every GI has an Xbox in the pack. That sucker weighs 15 pounds.
Again, I got some more of these wind being sucked into the vortex line here.
Got a big stack of games for dreams.
Go over my figure, so I'm trying to take care of everything that's sort of in front of him. That one goes behind. All right, so with that out of the way, I can start getting his outline down.
My boy and of course my wife, upgrading now to PS3 360, and of course
because I got these ruler lines I want to bring in, so I want to make sure I got all my boundaries, if you will.
My wife is still rocking her RPGs, playing with the Lego series, and along with PS4 and Xbox One, my wife and I have our second son. With this many gamers, there's one thing to do: buy some more TVs and a Wii U. So here I am, career wife and 2 kids.
There we go.
A lot of time for gaming, but
now I can bring in
get a couple
this,
hours like
these other
can't game all the
ruler
time,
lines. Almost. I got a couple of motion lines I want to put in first real quick.
When you're playing
That
online,
one.
and old man, maybe take
And
it easy on whenever you
that
can.
one.
Yeah, you're better than me.
There.
Play every
Now I've
day.
got everything
Work,
that goes
life,
behind.
kids, bills to pay. So before teabagging me and calling me new, remember the old gamers who built this for you. Gaming.
Go from there to
Got a
there.
hold of me.
From there to
I
there.
found my first love with Atari.
There's nothing like inking while you listen to
Yeah,
yourself
that was
sing.
better. Yeah, that's some dad rap right there.
So stupid.
Raw dad rap. Good luck, Joe. I love you.
Right.
Our text for today
Go.
concerns
And there's one more. It's probably hard for you guys to see. One little thin line at 3 dimensions to this sucker.
internal complexities of the inferior mind.
All right. So
So there's that sort of three-dimensional line. Only mistake I made, I came a little bit over into this cloud, so I'm going to add just a little shade to it, and no one will ever know. There, I just hid that little mistake. This one right here is not a big deal at all, because this is just his back arm, so I'm actually going to fill this whole thing in with black, since it's in the background. There we go. There we go. Hey, GLHG. I'm glad to see you back, bud. Courtney and GLHG out there in the chat together. Today is a good day. Yeah, not doing anything too exciting today, GL. Just inking a Cold Lightning page, listening to some Joe November jams. You know the deal. You've been here before. I like this part in the jam. Joe's so talented.
Check it out, yo. Yo, here we go, yo. Check it out, listen to this. Use a Q-tip so you don't miss the best
Here
part
we
of
go.
this. Premium quality choice cut. Easy to digest, feel it in your heart and your guts. Quick reps when I approach vocally, quick step. King pong stack, I slowly draining all of your rep. I go to hypnotize the audience with you in my set. I shoot from 3 towns, blindfold and swish it in there. No crossover, I'ma keep it in the east. Unless I got a show in the west, and I'ma show in the beast. Cause everywhere I travel, I leave a lasting impression. Some remember the deliveries, and others the aggression. From the fat woo, that weight man overboard. Some niggas is just liabilities I can't afford. In my solitude, the authority wrote it for you. What I do is a little something to listen to.
That boom back, you need to listen to this. Tired of bubblegum radio hits, music for kids, hard snares and hard kicks. Jay from Jersey, the collective. Listen to this, you need to listen to this.
You want it like that? We got it like that. This ain't no Dom Perignon sipping kind of rap act. It's more kickback, feet up, and no contact. We don't share common ground, so don't dare to
There we
compare.
go.
Take a picture,
There
don't
we go.
say, I'll leave an autograph. Stay off the Bozak or get thrown back like Mama Jack and call your mama's house and not you coming back and couldn't hack it. Hit with a hard fact. It's real work and not acting. 100-pound sacks and bars strapped to my back, kid. My fate condemned to carry more weight than Atlas. If pressure had a pretty face, I press it in the mattress. You can't match this style or attack this. You must have skipped the class when they covered the basics. Cause now your foundation's covered in cracks and false statements. Didn't have to check the facts, man, you're so whack. It's blatant, probably best to get the step and or get buried in paper.
That boom back, you need to listen to this. Tired of bubblegum radio.
You can always tell when I get to the tricky part because I get real quiet. That's why we got Joe November to keep us company. But this is pretty close to the end of the miniseries right here. This is page 17 of book 3, which is the last book. So I think it's 22 or 23 pages. We are getting there. See, I've got the other pages here. Let's take a look. 2, 3, 4. Yep, I have 5 more pages. Takes me to 22. 5 pages after this, and all the main inking will be done. I'm not sure what we're doing with the cover of 3. If I'm going to need to ink that cover, I haven't seen that. The first 2 covers we had Dean Kotz on it. That's I've had the pleasure of inking Dean on 2 covers for this. We did the cover for a role-playing game module where I inked him on that. Yeah, Dean's a lot of fun to ink. He's a great artist. And then he did some James Bond cover work, which totally made me jealous. I was wishing I could ink him on that. Sneeze coming. Woo! There we go. I really like the shade work on this figure that he did. Probably because, as an inker, anytime you can just lay down a lot of ink and shadow, it's kind of easy. It's also pretty cool looking. I don't know. I kind of like heavily inked things. I always preferred a heavier ink look than a lighter one. Although, I mean, I've seen masters do the lighter one. Like, who is it? Scott Williams, I think, that inks a lot of Jim Lee stuff. Because Jim Lee stuff has like a lot of really light touches to it. So it makes sense there. But like, I think about Frank Miller, especially when like he was inking himself. He does a lot of heavy inks on his stuff that gives a real moody, that Sin City kind of look. I always dug that. I just saw the bless you in the chat there, GL, and I thank you. That's hilarious. Made my day, dude. Come around on this hand and give it a little more definition. Looks like he's got some like digging into the door crunch lines here. And I'm adding as I add definition to these fingers. There we go. I'm going to take a real thin 0.5 here. I see just the faintest little line here from Wendell. Just gives it gives this door a little bit of personality. Like that. All right. About to finish up my ruler work on this door. Anybody who's ever watched any of these videos or seen me ink before knows that ruler work always looks cool, but to me it's the most nerve-wracking. Like, I don't mind working on the person or a form, but it's the tech and the ruler work. Like this panel right here has got me worried already. There's so much tech and stuff in the background, which means a lot of ruler and template work. It's also precise, so it's a little more nerve-wracking. I never understand how, like, the artists on, like, Iron Man. Like, oh my gosh. Marvel called me tomorrow and was like, hey, we need you to ink an issue of Iron Man. I was like, uh-oh. Ruh-roh. There we go. All right, so both my door lines are there. Now I need this one over here, which is going to require the French curves template. Again, I want to get these space debris that are flying around. Taken care of. Okay. I think we're ready to put that last template line down. That's pretty close to what he had. There we go. Looks like my template work on this one is done for the vast majority. Taking the outline around him now, so he stands out a little bolder. There we go. Not too upset about that. Right. Now just to darken in this portion of the door, without ruining my pretty curved line here. So I thicken it to the inside, where it doesn't matter if I make a mistake because it's all getting blacked out anyway. Make sure that outside part stays nice and crisp. And there we go. Same thing down here. Thicken the line, but to the left into the part that's going to be blacked out. Build yourself a little buffer there before you come in with the thicker brush or marker. Go. So tonight I got some podcasting to do. We're going to be recording another episode of LBC Irregulars, our Sherlock Holmes podcast. We're going through the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes series from the 80s into the 90s. Over on Granada TV. Hosted by our very own, usually in the chat, captivating Kathy Bright, the MVP. Her second recording. I just listened to her last one that's going to be released soon. Her edit on it. She did a great job. So if you like that Sherlock Holmes goodness, of course, I always recommend you check out Longbox Crusade for all your podcasting needs. Oh, I see you in the chat there, GL. Ask a question. I'll pop it up. Doing a lot of painting myself, but for a first timer, well, I'm not that good. Any tips? Well, GL, just remember, anything you do a lot, you get better at. So that's my way of saying practice, 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 obviously. What kind of painting are you doing, GL? You doing watercolors, acrylics, oils? Because I've messed around a little bit with watercolor, and it's been a long time since I've done oils. And but like most of the paintings like you see me do on yard sale found stuff, that's all like acrylic work. So I have learned to work with acrylics a little bit. They're probably my favorite ones to use. Oh, you went straight to oils. All right. GL says you went straight to oils. Man, I probably haven't used oils in like a decade. I'll tell you what, when I did use them, you know, there's people who like blend oil, like they'll put down that color and then blend with a lighter color, kind of blend it because it stays wet for so long. I've just kind of always been like a 2 or 3 tone painter. So like, see if I can give you an example. So let's pretend we painted Spider-Man here. And you can see in this particular image of Spider-Man that there's some darker reds up here in and around his shoulders, on his fists, like that. So again, some people would blend that, like they put in their red and they bring in some, maybe mix it with a little bit of brown and kind of blend that. I was always the kind of guy that like I would fill in everything with the base red, just let it be base red, and then basically let it dry, which is probably why I like acrylics. They dry way faster than oils. Oils almost like never really dry. But anyway, but I would put all base red, and then I'd mix another one that with some brown in it so it'd be darker, and then I'd come in and literally just kind of paint those segments. But okay, so you do it that way, it almost has a die cut look to it because I'm putting in basically whole new shapes over the old shape with the darker brown, and it'll give it that sort of two-tone die cut look, which I like. You know, if it's not your thing, then do it while it's wet and kind of blend it in with the shape. That may be more your speed, and they'll have a smoother blend and have a softer edge, which kind of can look cool. I like that harder edge. I like, this may sound weird, but I like to see decision making in my art. Like someone made a firm decision to make that shape, you know, I think that's cool. And then as you see down here too, there's a lighter part under his elbow. So again, I'd have that all painted base red. And then on this lighter part here by the elbow, here at the ankle, here down the foot, then I'd mix a lighter red, like a pink, and go back over it. So again, mine would have more of a die cut look. And then afterwards, I'd go back and I'd put in the paint over with the thin black spidey web lines. That's how I would do it. So many different ways to take that, especially with oils of GL. So if I gave you something at least to think about, then that's good. But yeah, that's the level of quality advice you get here from the yard sale artist. Ooh, I think I hear the Long Box Crusade theme song in the background. I love it. All right, I'm gonna pull out my keyboard here for a second. There we go. What I want to do, show you guys while we're listening to cool music. There's Joe November SoundCloud page with a clearly some kind of ad popping up that I don't care about. Go away ad. There's Joe November SoundCloud page. Highly recommended if you like these cool beats. Joe's got skills and talents. Welcome to the chat to the Hyper Potato, who's encouraged me to ink it good. So this actually has an effect on it that I don't know that I've ever really done before, because you can tell there's sort of a bright light coming here around the legs. Wendell's actually drawn it to where the lines don't connect, like right there with the thigh and the leg, to give it that really kind of bright light source coming from down here, lower right, like the light source is like down here. And I don't know if I've ever really done that kind of an ink move before, so this is a first timer for me. But it goes against my OCD to, like, you know, complete the form, but I'm gonna let it ride. And in a situation like that, you really got to trust your colorist, because it's kind of a pain in the butt for the colorists when you do that. Colorists like to have those closed forms because then they can just do fills. With this open one, they can't do a fill because if it does a fill color from here, it's going to fill all the way into the leg. So they're going to have to be a little more deliberate with what they do. But it's kind of worth it in the long run because you get that really neat bright light effect, if you will. So I hope the colorist is ready for this one. It goes against my nature to not finish the form of the leg, but that's all right. I think it'll have a neat effect, especially like I said, once it's colored. And it's so nice to see those great folks in the chat like Hyper Potato, GLHG, and Courtney. There's such a great chat community here at the Long Box Crusade. You see me wanting to close those close those lines, but I won't. I'll let the colorists do their thing. I think I'm going to just trust Wendell on this one. He hasn't ever let me down yet. I think his pencils, he draws pretty tightly, so that makes it pretty easy to ink. I don't have to make a ton of decisions when it comes to inking Wendell. Wendell, I think that's probably the most fun thing about inking Wendell is that his pencils are tight enough to where it's not like I have to make a ton of decisions, but loose enough to still let me have a little bit of play. It's like just perfect. Now, if only this wasn't a sci-fi comic with tons of machinery. It's not a Jarrod inking live stream if I don't complain about inking machinery. That's how you know it's me. You'll know if I'm like ever kidnapped or anything when I'm on a live stream and inking. I'm like, I love doing this machinery. That'll be the code. All right, people. So since I got some comic book people in the chat there with with the Hyper Potato, GLHG, if you're out there and you're listening, I was talking earlier about ink styles that I like, and I was saying I like heavy ink styles like Frank Miller a lot. Whose ink styles do you guys like? You know, who's some of your favorite inkers that you think add a lot to the mix? I mean, clearly I got a lot of love for John Beatty. Again, I think John has a little bit heavier of an ink hand, which I like. And I mean, John just has incredible precision as well, which is, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody ink as precisely as John does. He is what you call meticulous. And it always looks good. But what are some inkers you guys like? All right, Hyper Potato jumped right in and said Beatty, McLeod, Jansen, Terry Austin. Yeah, those are all home run hitters, aren't they, man? Those are good ones. Those are excellent choices. Definitely some of my favorites in there as well, my friend. Now, it's funny to me. It's like we've been working on Cold Lightning a long time. I think I started inking this book 5 years ago. I mean, it's a lot of pages because it's 3 books plus covers and all that. And of course, as the inker, I have to wait for the pages to come in from the penciler. And anyway, it's been a long process, but it's funny now because I go back and I look at page 1 because it's been 5 years and I've done other projects in between. This has sort of been the slow, steady background project. I just look at it sometimes, especially the older ones, and there's definitely a difference in my style between page 1 and where we are here on page 17 of book 3. It's almost like I'm a different inker a little bit, but that's a fun project because I can kind of go through it and kind of watch it develop. But we're pretty close to the end on this one. Like I was saying earlier, I just pulled out, there's 5 pages left. All the pencil pages are now in, so it's on me now. Doing the last 5. And then after that, I think all we got to really worry about is the cover to 3. And I don't know if Van's got something up his sleeve already, but he and I will talk about that at Dragon Con. Oh, GL, don't you worry about that episode. I see he's got another one of those, light effect. Smooth that out a little bit real quick. There we go. Going on this knee as well. Again, I have to go against my nature, not actually close the line right there, so it'll have that light effect like we did here and here. My OCD's acting up, people. There we go. There we go. Came together all right. OCD didn't take over too bad there. A little bit of a tech definition on this boot. Give these a little bit of a bump so they look like 3 distinctive segments of boot. That worked out all right. Smooth that out, bring it around. Now I can fill that section in. Like I said, when I do this, I post this on every video, but whatever's kind of closest to the camera or the viewer gets the thickest line for me. So that's going to be this foot. I'm going to have the thickest outline of anything on the page. I like to create that depth with thick lines for this foot that's close, and then like you see thinner lines for the fingers further away. Since this calf is kind of medium close, I'm going to thicken it just a little bit. There we go. It's like in that panel. Thickest line is the outline of the face because he's closer. That's my style. Hope you like it because I can't change it now. All right, just got that one nailed down. Just a few more, looks like ruler lines I want to put in down here. Almost forgot the bottom of the door. That's not good. Add that door bottom. And then a couple of he's got a couple of little, you probably can't see them on the screen, but they're there. Little motion lines, to show that wind being pulled through the door right under here. And I think that's about got panel 2. All right, I've been going right at about an hour, and I finished basically the second half of that panel and that panel. That's probably a good place to stop. Let's see. Hyper Potato came in with John Severn did some fantastic ink jobs on Trimpe on Hulk and Ayers on Sergeant Fury. Oh, okay. I'm not as familiar with the John Severn ink work. I'll have to look into that. Good lead there, Kurt. So we're almost halfway done with this page. Again, this is going to be the hardest panel right here. That's probably going to... The hour I just spent finishing that and doing that, it'll probably take me an hour just to do this, this one panel. But first, of course, I got to do this guy. I may do that on another live stream, or I may do it in private. Who knows? Definitely want to say thanks to Courtney and the Hyper Potato and GLHG for keeping me chatting during this. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. And of course, let me put the banner up. There you go. Give us, like it and subscribe and all that stuff. And check us out on social media at Longbox Crusade. Maybe make us your podcatcher of choice. Yeah, maybe. Let us be your podcast. Anyways, thanks for being here, everyone. And I will catch everybody later. So I guess, how do I wave? Like this? Goodbye. I'll see you guys later.